Welcome to Zoo Tours, the channel that brings the zoo right to you. If you're new here, please hit those like and subscribe buttons, along with that bell icon, to officially join the zoo crew. And before we begin, see if you can answer this episode's trivia question. Hello everybody, and welcome to the debut of the Minnesota Zoo. This massive 485-acre animal haven opened in 1978 as an idea that would change how America looks at zoos. A zoo where guests can look at wild animals in a natural-like setting, which is a standard today, but it was revolutionary for its time. After visiting, I realized that I've been throwing around the term underrated a little too much. I could give you tons of reasons why you need to visit this place, but I'll let the tours speak for themselves. The Minnesota Zoo is organized in 5 themed areas, designed to make sure that you see every species every day of the year. We'll be going through the 70-acre Northern Trail, the award-winning Russia's Grizzly Coast, the Discovery Bay, also known as their aquarium, the award-winning Minnesota Trail, and we'll start these tours exactly how you would if you were actually here, with the Tropics Trail. Even though there have been some touch-ups, you still wouldn't believe that this was an opening day attraction. A single winding path puts you in the forests of Africa, Asia, the New World, and, well, let's just begin the tour. Fair warning though, the zoo went heavy on the precautions. Some animals weren't cooperating, and many are very familiar to us. So this will be an exhibit-focused episode. The first 4 attractions from the south entrance can be viewed under one roof. Before the tropics is a large, sunken meadow, also viewable from outside and filled with Japanese macaques. You wouldn't expect to see primates outside in the fall, but this Minnesota weather is perfect for this monkey. Their coat is well adapted to battle the cold. Its thickness increases as the temperatures decrease. In the wild, they have to deal with weather that's sometimes as low as -5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is partially how they got their other name, the snow monkey. Down the hall is 3 million penguins of the African coast, a modest rendition of South Africa's rocky shore. The penguins have small cliffs and built-in nesting for sleeping and breeding. In front of them is a 7-foot deep, 15,000-gallon pool that appears to go off into the behind-the-scenes area. We have 40 feet of viewing, both above and underwater, along with our own rock formations, so kids can climb and get a nose-to-nose experience with the penguins. And that finally brings us to this 1.5-acre tropical atrium, the best place to be if you want to escape that nasty Minnesota winter weather. No offense. The opening region beyond the archway is Madagascar, and our first exhibit is a small open rocky space for radiated tortoises. But before you notice them, you might notice these large graphics inside their enclosure that illustrates other animals from Madagascar that are now extinct. Embedded into the next display is a large baobab tree trunk. Around it, I found a small group of ring-tailed lemurs, and you can actually go inside, where I found hissing cockroaches, adjacent to faces of the African forest. And to kick it off is a shallow cave, crowded with a close colony of 3 species of fruit bats, which are revealed in the species list below. And it's not just us that can look into their cave. From West Africa's rivers is the dwarf crocodile, shy and small but stealthy. This reptile often hunts for fish. To help them out, they not only have see-through eyelids, but they can also stay underwater for more than an hour before they make their attack. The last African feature has a mixed bunch of DeBrazza's monkeys. We talked about in another episode how they get along with very few other species. And here, it's the colobus that didn't want to be filmed, and red river hogs that have their own muddy space in the corner. The tropics continues with Asia, the largest section, and nothing describes this next animal better than the word large, the Komodo dragon. And in order to live up to their strong reputation, they have to rely on other sources to regulate their body temperature. Zoos either use lamps or heated rocks, and Minnesota lets you see exactly how that works. The next Asian marvels are the critically endangered Bali myna or Bali starling. Below them, I was just able to see the shell of an Indian star tortoise. Nearing the middle of the building is what may be the face of this Tropics Trail, the white-cheeked gibbon. Lately, I've been featuring a lot of primates that can and love to swim. Apes, on the other hand, not so much. Orangutans and chimps have been known to dip in knee-high depths, but usually avoid anything deeper than that. Gibbons prefer the dry life at almost all costs, but there are a few exceptions. They have to hydrate at some point. When they drink, they don't cup the water as you would expect. They either rub their hands on wet leaves, which you can see here, or just dip their hands in the water and drink whatever was absorbed in their fur. This part of the tour is definitely a fan favorite, just as any other gibbon exhibit would be. You get to hear their songs, watch them perform acrobatics, and though I missed its high point, the front of their pool is hit with a tropical storm. And I don't know about you, on my travels, it's been hard to come by gibbons that are mixed in with other non-primate species. Over 25 waterfowl and wading birds from all over the world surround the island. The most plentiful and colorful are the lesser flamingos. Within the rocks along the right side is a tank full of Asia's freshwater fish. Right after the now empty otter exhibit is a rhinoceros hornbill high in the air, enjoying what I hear is a renovated home, which appears to blend in with the environment to their left. We'll save that for later. Behind the gibbon island and the barely see-through plastic are silvery langurs, which we'll move on from. It's okay because we'll be seeing them somewhere else very soon. Coming up is a pachyderm I still can't believe even exists. Most people call it an anteater, the Malayan tapir. They're related to rhinos and horses, so I assume the confusion comes from their nose. Like an elephant's, it is prehensile, meaning it can wrap around and grab things. They can even stretch it out if they really need to grab food that's out of their reach. Or maybe they just do it because they really want to show off those pearly whites. Right across from them, you'll pass Asian brown tortoises, before the tropics transitions into the next zone. One of my favorite spots in the entire zoo, but I think we should follow the descending path that will give us a much better and more vibrant view. In 1991, the zoo replaced their bottlenose dolphins with a tropical aquarium. Not something you'd expect to find in a rainforest building, but it belongs here just as much as any of the other animals. Not only does it depict a tropical region, but coral reefs are called the underwater rainforests. These 95,000 gallons are home to almost 100 kinds of sea life. The most popular are the white-spotted bamboo and brown-banded bamboo sharks. You can't miss the zebra shark, covered in spots as an adult, but are born with stripes. On a later Minnesota episode, you'll finally get to see what that looks like rather than just hear it from me. I imagine the guest favorite is the hawksbill sea turtle. Couldn't find their name, but I know they were rescued and then rehabilitated at the Dallas Zoo after he was found entangled in a fishing line that resulted in the loss of both right flippers. The tunnel then brings you between two canyons. The right side no longer has Visayan warty pigs, and the red panda across from them recently passed. But there still is a Urial, a wild sheep that inhabits steep, grassy terrain of the western parts of Central Asia. Although domestic sheep are incredibly common throughout the world today, poaching and competition with livestock for food has led the Urial to be classified as vulnerable to extinction. There are also very few in the US, but I can guarantee we will see them again on this channel at a much better angle. A new tunnel begins. This time it's the zoo's own little version of a nocturnal house. The left enclosure has a lens two-toed sloth. Maybe one day we'll find one that's awake. To their right, my camera was just barely able to make out a massive Burmese python. The cave emerges into the flight zone, a walk-through aviary, the tropics' largest enclosed display. It gives you a backside view of the hornbills, along with ground level view on one side and a deep drop-off on the other, which was the area that we saw earlier. I managed to spot a black-naped oriole, grosbeak starlings, a Luzon bleeding heart, metallic starlings, an Asian fairy bluebird, white-crested laughing thrushes, golden-crested mynas, emerald doves, black-necked stilts, pied imperial pigeons, a spur-winged lapwing, and many more that you can read below. Tropics closes with South America. Here's an aviary for water birds. American avocets dwell on the forest floor, and to give the canopy some added color are crested oropendulas, scarlet ibises, roseate spoonbills. And let's see if this motmot will look at the camera, and I guess not. The last visible critter on this tour is an Amazon milk frog settled in the bark. And I would show you our final residence, but the agouti, titi monkey, along with the tamarin and armadillo enclosures were blocked off. But again, that's okay. That just gives us another chance to learn about them at another time. As we reach the home stretch, there are 3 dioramas for a Komodo dragon, a skeletal display of a snake, and a boa constrictor, which then brings us to the next trail. And that concludes this continuation of our tours through the country's indoor rainforests. And don't just let me know what you thought of this exhibit, see how they compare to the other indoor rainforests on this channel. And as always, thank you for watching.